Hi, everybody. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Pat Cavlin coming to you from Houston, Texas with your tropical update today, Sunday, August 20th, 2023. And the Atlantic Basin has come to life. We now have 3 named storms and 2 additional areas of interest that we are keeping an eye on. So that's what the map looks like right now. We've got bookend areas of interest, one here in the Gulf of Mexico, the other one in the far eastern reaches of the Atlantic, both with medium odds for developing. And then in between, we've got 2 tropical storms and a tropical depression. Let's focus on those first. The tropical storms and the tropical depression all are going to remain away from the United States. The one that we will have to keep an eye on, though, is Tropical Storm Franklin. That is expected to have significant impacts up towards Hispaniola, so Haiti and the Dominican Republic as we get into the middle of the week. Tropical Depression 6 is expected to fall apart in the next 24 hours, and then Tropical Storm Emily will gain strength but will curve out to sea and will not be an issue to anyone except for the shipping lanes. So as of this evening's advisory, that's where Tropical Storm Franklin was located, in the middle of the Caribbean, just to the south of Puerto Rico. Winds sustained at 45 miles per hour, making this a fairly weak tropical storm at the moment, but it is expected to strengthen here, and eventually it's expected to make a turn up towards the north. Right now, it's got a west to northwest movement, but watch the forecast track here from the National Hurricane Center. By Monday night into early Tuesday morning, the storm takes a hard turn to the right, going straight north again towards Haiti and the Dominican Republic, making landfall by Tuesday night and Wednesday morning as a 60 to 65 mile per hour tropical storm. From there, reemerges back over the Atlantic and strengthens as a Category 1 hurricane as it moves away from land and out to sea. But this is going to be a prolific rain event for Hispaniola. And remember, Hispaniola has huge mountain ranges, which will help to squeeze out a ton of moisture from this storm. So places like Port-au-Prince all the way out towards Santo Domingo here on the south end of the island, we're talking about 6 to 12 inches of rain, which will lead to flash flooding. You can see mudslides as well. On the north end of the island, rainfall totals will be less because you're going to be on the rain shadow side of these mountains, on the lee side of the mountain. So all of that water is going to be squeezed out. We'll still get probably about 2 to 4 inches of rain on the north end of the island, but the flooding potential is really going to be on the south side of Hispaniola. So again, from Port-au-Prince all the way to Santo Domingo, big flooding event likely. Now as we get into the Gulf of Mexico, we've been watching this wave here for the last few days. Yesterday, it was in the Florida Keys out towards the Straits. Now it is starting to emerge into the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico. We've got water temperatures that are well above normal in the mid to upper 80s on average. We also have low wind shear, so we are expecting this system to gain strength over the next 24 to 48 hours. The limiting factor, though, is going to be the amount of real estate that it has before it interacts with land. So it's really going to have to work hard to get its act together if it's going to gain strength. Right now, though, computer models are keeping this probably just at tropical storm strength as it develops over the next 2 to 3 days. Here's one of those computer models. It's our high-resolution in-house model. Notice by tomorrow afternoon, we've got a pretty well-defined swirl here. Notice those rain bands extending out from the center, which will probably be located in the south-central Gulf of Mexico. There's New Orleans. There's Houston. The storm will be several hundred miles down to the south, probably getting close to a depression at this point. And then from there, this is the rainmaker that we've desperately been looking for in southeast Texas. Unfortunately, it looks like the core of that rain goes somewhere between Corpus Christi and Brownsville. You could see probably about 2 to 5 inches of rain in this area. Southeast Texas looks to remain largely dry from the system. Maybe a couple of rogue showers on the outer bands expand into our area, but I think this is primarily going to be a big rainmaker for parts of South Texas. That's going to be Monday night into Tuesday, and then by Tuesday evening, the core of this starts to move into Mexico and everyone starts to dry out. Temperature is going to be very, very hot as well. So the driving force behind this, again, that giant heat ridge. Here's the moisture from Hillary. That's going to ride up and over the ridge. There's our Gulf of Mexico system. That's going to dive underneath this ridge. And as we put this into motion, watch the one in the Gulf of Mexico. You can really see that swirl there, but again gets pushed. This ridge really squeezes this thing to the south, and that's going to keep the best rain chances away from us. Unfortunately, computer models barely give us anything. On average, maybe a quarter of an inch of rain at best. So our drought here is going to continue even as the system passes to the south. That's the latest on a very busy Atlantic. Bottom line, no large storms threatening the United States. We're going to watch Franklin as it goes into Hispaniola later on this week, and we'll keep an eye on the latest with this system as it develops into the Gulf over the next 48 hours.